Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. My name's Jason Newland and this is Let Me Bore Your Pain Away. Dan, dan, dan. Yep, please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. I'm here with my little boy, Vinny. Little Vinny. And basically, all this is... This is aimed at people with chronic pain issues. Only listen when you have had the cause of your chronic pain diagnosed by a professional medical expert. And get permission from your medical practitioner before listening. So, this is... It's something you can test. If you listened to these before, then, and you're listening again, it probably means that it was useful. Either that, or you just got nothing else to do, which I doubt is true. All I do is invite you to not just believe that by listening to some random weird man from England on a podcast recording that somehow you will physically feel different. Now, it's just a test, you can just test it. See if it's useful, how useful it is. So all I'm going to do, ask you to focus on the part of your body that is currently or was a problem. Gauge where the level of discomfort is in this very moment. If you go from 0 to 10, it's not a great graph because, it could be 0 to 50. It could be that, specific. But I'll just go for now 0 to 10. 0 being absolutely nothing and you feel fine and you're happy about that. Or 10 being the top level of where it could ever be. So where would you gauge it at the moment in this... at this time? Maybe it's a 10, maybe it's a 7, maybe it's a 6, maybe it's a 9. Just gauge where it is. And just remember that number. Maybe write it down. Just remember what number it was. And then at the end of the recording, you can gauge and you can see how much it's changed and how much it's gone down. And you may be surprised. You may also think, well, how is it reduced when he's literally done nothing? He's just talked about, kangaroos or whatever I end up talking about. Knitting kangaroos. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? Mind you, they seem to have the right arms for knitting, don't they? And they've definitely got somewhere to hold their wool. So, I'm quite pleased with that. So, I don't know. It's just... test it. If it works, it works. That's the bottom line. And... do we really need to know how everything works? I don't know how electricity works, but it doesn't stop me turning a light switch on. Or using an oven or the microwave. There's technology. I don't know how the phone works, the mobile phone, but I still use it. I don't know how hardly anything works. And sometimes scientists don't even know how stuff works. They know how to use it, how to utilize it, but they don't know really what it is they're using why something produces a certain effect. So I find that interesting. One thing, oh man, there was I saw this thing on YouTube today, and a woman could smell. She could smell diseases, like early, catch things early, so that they could have treatment. But she could smell it. And they tested it, like actually put her through tests, clinical tests and everything. And she, phenomenal. She could actually smell. Yeah, I imagine if I met her, I'd say, "Can you smell anything?" She said, "Yeah, you need to have a bath." That's probably what I'd probably get from her. So for those who don't know who I am, I'll do an introduction. I am a man-ish. I live in England, and I realise I just summed up my whole 54 years of life in 2 sentences. There must be more. More must have happened, surely. I got Vinegar. He's my little pet Jack Russell. He thinks he's in control. He thinks he's the boss. We all know that he is, I suppose. He's very demanding. I've never known a dog to be so demanding, and I've lived with a few dogs over the years, and I think all of them have been pretty easygoing to a degree. He has to have his own way, like all the time. All the time. Not just sometimes, but all the time. And I don't know why. I don't know why my voice is going so high either. But I'm not sure why that is. Yeah. Over the years, my back. Stretching my back. Stretching my back. Oh, it feels nice when I stretch it. Oh, yeah. I'd like to have... Actually, there is an exercise I do where I do... Because I have arthritis in my lower back, and I had physiotherapy, or I spoke to a physiotherapist, and I decided, she told me to do squats, but use weights. Now, what I didn't use weights to start with, because I wanted to just get used to doing the squats. So I built up to 100 squats. And then I might be lying now, wait a minute. Or did I do up to 50? Anyway, I did the squats, and then I started again with the weights. And now I'm up to 110 in a row. And I've been doing this, this was 2020, I think it was. So it's a little while ago that I had this physiotherapy. It was on the phone, which is a weird thing to do, to have physiotherapy on the phone. But the exercise she gave me actually worked. It really helps to strengthen that part of my body. I noticed something though, I like to play around. I like to just experiment with ideas that come into my head. And I was just thinking, because I quite like superhero movies. Don't judge me. I like what I like, and that's okay. You like what you like, and that's okay. Unless, of course, you don't like Superman and superhero humor. Can't even say the words. Never mind. I had this idea about what it would be like to be indestructible. And then I started thinking, well, how could I make part of myself indestructible? And I was thinking about my fists. How could I make my hands so that I could literally, I wouldn't be able to hurt them no matter what I did? And I was also watching some boxing as well, so I think my mind flow probably went through different scenarios, thinking about. I think I was thinking about Prince Nassim Hamid, who was a world champion when I was in my early 20s, well, and late 20s, and thinking about him, and he had a bad hand. So I think that's part of the reason he quit in the end. And I was just thinking of that. And then I was thinking, how could you make your hand stronger? How could you protect your hand? And it'd be the same as protecting any part of your body, I guess, wouldn't it? And I was thinking, well, if you had concrete, of course you can't have concrete setting on your skin because of the toxins, so that would be very harmful. But like a harmless version of concrete or plaster or something like that, which would cover the whole of the hand that's made into a fist and just cover it. Just a small layer to start with, and then another bigger layer, making it more and more thicker and tougher. And I thought, oh, I felt like my hand was getting heavier, which is a bit weird. And I noticed that my mouth, on the right hand side of my mouth, was a little bit achy. Just achy. No particular reason. I mean, hopefully no particular reason, but I have to keep an eye on my teeth. I had a bit of problems with my teeth last couple of years ago. So I got one tooth that's on its own. There's nothing either side of it. And I don't really want to go into too much details about my teeth. They're pretty much okay, most of it, but it's at the back. So I had to have a tooth out. And previous to that, I had to have two teeth out the other side. So that side of my mouth definitely has been a little bit, a bit, Because it's on its own, I don't know sometimes if it's aching because there's something wrong with it, or it's just lonely. I don't know. So what I imagined, that same material, safe of course on the skin, but like starting to cover my jaw, like on the outside of my face, which would make the right hand side of my face tougher and indestructible. I say indestructible, but like an extra really thick layer of skin that's hard. And as I was imagining that, and this was weird because this wasn't the reason I was doing it, but as I imagined that, and I do it now as well, there's a numbness happens in the tooth and in that part of the mouth. It's strange because it's not a numbness in the same way as a dentist when they do when they numb the mouth and stuff. Not that kind of numbness, more just a disappearing of feeling that was there. The rest of the mouth feels absolutely fine, can feel, but it just seems to take, I don't know. Maybe that layer on my face, that imagined layer, is actually sucking or drawing out the toxins from the tooth, like, I don't know, in in an imaginative way. Or it might be just the focus on the outside of my cheek is a distraction, and it's possible, could be that. But it's really strange. I did it again just now because that tooth's a little bit temperamental. Maybe I need to fill in or something, but I do, I try and look after my teeth. And I do talk to it, I don't want it to be lonely. I let it know, I try and tell the other teeth, come on, interact, include it in the parties that you have, Just try and don't leave it on its own. Don't neglect it. And some of the teeth are fine, okay, Jay. Others, we don't care. We never liked it to start with, and now we've got this gap we're going to keep away. I said, why? Just lies a lot. Constantly lying, making stuff up, boasting and bragging. And you daren't have your sandwiches because there's still something from your sandwich box. Took a Mars bar out of there once while we were waiting for a train. What the hell are you talking about? This is a teeth in my mouth. This doesn't make sense. And he said, you don't make sense. Okay. So I found that interesting, how the imagination can actually change how you feel by doing very little and not even really doing it for any particular reason. I mean, there was a little bit of a reason, but it was more just as a little bit of fun. Thinking, I wonder what would happen if I do it on my face, because I was focusing on that part because of the tooth, and it changed how I felt. I had a similar thing actually. This is back in, because I've been fascinated with ways to reduce physical discomfort, like chronic pain and stuff like that, since late 1990s. That's when I started becoming interested in it. So it's been an interest that I've had for a long time. And I didn't even have any of my own issues back then. I mean, the arthritis was coming on gradually over the last 25 years. And it was a very slow process, which I'm surprised. I didn't really know what it was. But eventually it just wear and tear, really, perhaps. And I remember once, this was about 2005, maybe 2006, something like that, 2005, 2006. I'm walking to work, and it's a long walk. So I walk out of, there was no buses going down that road, and it was one of those roads that leads to and from a motorway, so it's super busy, and it's like one of those turn-offs. You can stay on the motorway, but some people come off the motorway to try and get to the other part of the motorway as a shortcut if the motorway's busy. And that's what that was. So a lot of lorries led into town as well, so it was a really busy road. There's a little bit of a quiet period, middle of the night, but first thing in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning, the lorries started, and it carried on till about 11 at night. And then there was that little lull, which isn't really relevant to the story, but I did try once. I tried to cycle, and it wasn't good. I sweated too much. I didn't realise how much sweat underpants can hold. It was ridiculous. I sweated so much. And I used to get wet as well. I don't know why, but I get wetter cycling than I would walking when it was raining. And I got in trouble. I remember I got in trouble. It was like, can you stop putting your socks on the radiators? That's what I was told in the office. Apparently it didn't go down very well. Now some would say, well, you should know not to do that. For some reason I didn't know. I didn't know that it was a no-no. I didn't know that it went against company regulations. I didn't see anything like that in the HR manual when I joined. Didn't mention socks on a radiator at all, and nor underpants. So anyway, I would walk, and I remember I had problems with my knees. My knee was hurting, and because I was walking, I don't know how I hurt my knee. Must have bashed it. I don't know, but it was hurting. So I'm walking, and it's just annoying me. So what I do is a technique that I tried in the past, and it's not the first time I did it. I did it first of all in 2004 for a similar thing when I was meditating, and I was cross-legged and my legs were hurting, and I decided to look for it, look for that feeling that was not pleasant, looking for it, look for it. And the more I looked for it, the harder it was to find it. And every time I thought I'd found it, I'd go into it looking even further. And it turned out there was nothing there. The deeper you look, keep looking inward, keep looking, searching for it. And it's not something you can actually hold in your hand. It's not a physical thing. It's not an actual thing. It's a feeling. And the feeling seems to just vanish. And I tested this for years, this technique I don't know if it's just something that I tried, whether it's been done before. It's possibly a mixture of different things. I don't know. Don't care really. But I did it on this time when I was walking to work and I was focusing on my knee. And I did it actually whilst in action with my eyes open, because I'd never done that before. Usually I'd always have my eyes closed and pretended I was meditating. And I did the same thing and it just vanished. The feeling vanished. And just saying the words to myself, where is it? Where is it? I keep looking, focusing on it, and then just, if it moves, focusing on it again. If it moves again, focusing on it again. And it just seemed to just disappear. And if it stayed in one place, I'd go inside, look for it, look even further, almost like travelling. Remember those old, actually an old movie. Do you remember the Ant-Man? He's talking about superhero movies again. Yes. If you've seen Ant-Man, he basically shrinks down to the size of a molecule. And it's almost like that, just shrinking smaller each time, going inside and inside and inside. And for some reason, I'm pushing my knee while I talk to you. I'm probably going to be sitting down later thinking, my knee, what's happened to my knee? Why is there a big dent in it? So it's something you can do, and I found it very interesting, to be honest, how easy it is to change without even really putting a lot of effort in, to be honest. It's kind of weird. I don't even know why I've been fascinated with this kind of stuff. Because when I first got involved in like NLP, hypnosis, all that kind of stuff, The first thing I thought was this could help with reducing physical discomfort. That was my first thought. Actually, my second thought was my first thought was, I wonder what kind of biscuits they're going to have during the coffee break. That was my first thought, but my second thought, how I could help people. And in 2006, I actually did offer a free pain relief service, and people come with lots of different ailments, physical stuff, and I'd help with, all of them. A lot of it really was just relaxing. But there's 1,000,001 different techniques that you can use, different things, play around with it. It's like a game, really. You can just find which one works for you. What helps. Sometimes people find that distraction techniques really are useful. Some people find that focusing directly on the issue is the best solution. It's different for everyone. It's different for everyone. I'm going to have a drink of water. I remember years ago. I do mean years ago. I feel what 2012. That's how long ago. What's that? 13 years ago. I was doing a recording. I just had a chest infection, and I was kind of recovering from that. So I hadn't made a recording for for about a week and a half. So I decided to do, I don't know what kind of session it was, but I had to keep drinking water while I was doing it because of my throat, And someone complained, I can't stand the sound of someone drinking water. Well, if that's your biggest problem, you're doing well in life, aren't you? If that's what you've got to worry about, the sound of someone drinking water, if that's your biggest peeve, then well done you. That's all I can say. That's what I said to a neighbour. Some of the neighbours were moaning about another neighbour always letting a door slam, like letting their front door slam. So she was upset because they were moaning. I said, look, if you've got to the age of 45, and if the worst thing that people can say about you is you let your front door slam, you're very successful. You're doing pretty good. And she didn't really see that before. I remember her saying to me, who are you? I said, I live upstairs. She said, I've never seen you before. I said, it's Jason. She said, what? I said, you've known me. I've lived here for 10 years. You should know me. She said, I've only been here for 2 months. I said, really? She said, no, I'm not. What, did you think I was the one who was here before? I said, yeah. She said, no. I said, oh, I'm embarrassed now. She said, you should be. Now be gone. Couldn't believe it. No one spoken to me like that. Be gone. You don't say that to someone. Be gone. It's like, what's next? Change how you feel. Feel differently. So yeah, it's there's lots of different ways that, I like the idea of, do you know Star Trek? I'm not obsessed with TV and movies, although I like some of the ideas, and Star Trek's one of those things, the transporter. And it's a similar thing with The Fly, the movie The Fly. And the idea, which I'm surprised they didn't use in Star Trek, to be fair, is if you transport a person, all their molecules, to a different place, with the fly, it was literally just to another transporter a few feet away. But unfortunately, a fly got in, which caused a very eventful story to unfold. But imagine if you've got that transporter and you could send all your molecules, all your DNA, everything to another transporter which is like 6 foot away and just come out the same. But then you realize that you have the ability to make some changes. So, for example, if you wanted to remove the DNA or whatever they are, the markers that affect the kind of hair you've got. So maybe I might decide, I want to. Okay, it's not really valid for me because I'm pretty much bald now. Not bald, but yeah, I'm kind of bald. I could say, I don't want curly hair because I used to have curly hair. And so you can sort of have straight hair, or I want blonde hair. So whatever, the gene that makes blue eyes, because blue eyes are actually an anomaly in the world. Most of the world has brown eyes. Blue eyes is a very different thing. So, blue eyes, baby's got blue eyes. So if you can do that and in your imagination, you can do that. Because you can do anything in your imagination, that's the thing. I mean, look at how many things that we get worried about. Things that haven't happened yet, things we're worried and we imagine, yeah? So, and it feels real, doesn't it, at the time? So maybe it would work the same way if you imagine something that will be nice, something that's useful, that will also feel real. And if it feels real, I guess it kind of is real in a way, if it feels, and this is all about feeling as well. Anyway, you imagine you got this transporter, like in Star Trek, that moves you, let's say for one, you can stand up in it, one ring, and moves you to another ring, like, or just vanishes you and then brings you back, but without a certain part of your DNA or part of your being, whatever it is. So there could be a physical feeling that you want to be taken away. So imagine you could just be on that transporter belt, like in Star Trek. If anyone hasn't seen it, then, or you could do space. No, what is it? Blake 7. They had little bracelets that they used for transporting as well. So Star Trek's not the only thing that's ever used transporting. I think they were the first. I think. So you could actually decide. So from my example, I could say, well, whatever was going on with my right knee, if we go back a few years, 20 years now, blimey, I could say, well, I'm going to go for the transporter, or let's say my tooth, my lonely tooth. I could decide to take away that discomfort. So, be transported and then be reported. I don't know what the opposite to transported is. I don't even want to think of what the word would be. So, and then come back And whatever that was has gone. It's not there anymore. And even though it's in your imagination, I mean, technically, like, you can still feel good. You can still feel, you can feel pleased with yourself. And it's quite a nice thing, isn't it? I would say. Well, that's what I think. And you can play with these ideas. And all it is just thinking about it. Thinking about fantasy. I mean, you could say it's fantasy, I suppose. Different ways of changing how you feel. Yeah. But the bottom line, really, I would say, is how do you feel now? At the beginning, you thought of a number, maybe wrote down the number 0 to 10. Where are you now? How different do you feel now? And please let me know. That brings me to the end of this recording. Thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself because you do deserve to be happy. Lots of love. Bye. Ma, 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 ma. If you wait tonight.